Welcome back to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. To anyone who's new, the Healthy Other is a 5D Collective member, so it's a person who takes self-attuning, regulation, and secure attachment seriously. Their 1-year-old is in the forefront, and that's why you do self-help, personal development, and that's also why you'll know about not fearing losing a twin flame or a partner or any of that stuff. Okay, so we will begin today's episodes with our lovely divine feminine and the twin flame journey, just a little bit of it. But we live fully and we live every day with love because we don't have this time of waiting for anyone, but also because the trending topic is not the true journey of a person who has the capacity to know their oversoul. I'm going to put it in the way of a divine feminine. Now, divine feminine, you can also take rid of the divine if you want, okay? But I use divine feminine because it's your heart and body. Divine masculine, your mind, and then I call the left mode of our brain the masculine because it's the chit chatter, it's the digital. It likes to break things down, right and wrong. It doesn't like that sciences and spirituality touches, but because we have integration of the brain here with self-help, because you own your sense of self, you aren't paused with your sense of self. If you have insecure attachment category or disorganized or any of that, then that means you're at a therapist getting your sense of self all together. Okay, so you're learning how to self-attune and regulate to be able and be empowered. If you're not regulating your own self, then you aren't ready for what is mindfulness living or spirituality living just yet. Of course, you're welcome to stay here, but empowerment means you have healthy capacity, open-hearted business, so you don't do characterological distinctions. When we have people with personality disorders, we don't use Lucifer and demons or ignorant human beings who are continuing to talk about shame sex, shame drugs, and shame drinking, and shame everything. They want to shame humanity, so they don't know about healing all of that inner child stuff. So we leave alone those who want to shame to their business. We know that every person, and here's again a feminine nurture here, is able to tap into their own feminine. That's exactly why we don't capture. So true divine feminine doesn't go and capture anyone. We will be able to tend to you, nurture you by using our voice and speaking and sharing information that is going to empower you. The ones who want to be captured, they in fact are the insecure, unhealthy others. It's like Diego's family. Okay, before he has Manny and Sid. So Diego's family is basically non-differentiated people. They like enmeshing. They have low self-esteem, they have indirect communication, they're passive-aggressive, they don't talk to you, they think canceling, blocking, unfriending you is talking. They will talk about each other, energy vampire, dark horse, so that's why you will find Cuscos are all teenagers in my book. They don't know self-attuning or regulating, and they don't want to. They dismiss the good therapy information, stuff like that. So again, 2 groups at the very bare minimum. Here you find the human love narrative group, and we care about the wind beneath our own wings and then the wind beneath each other's wings. So we don't do, because you have maladaptive patterns of behavior or adaptive patterns, child parts, I will insult you. The biggest difference between a functional adult / inner child adult is they will talk. They will try to talk. So we don't do this. And when somebody does block, unfriend, or do any of that, we're going to understand also, we're going to process that, because sometimes it's really unnecessary. Yeah, most of the time it's unnecessary. But now that we're all updated on what adaptive child parts are, and that it is a rigid, non-flexible, ignorant, closed-minded, unhealthy other, you're not really going to do anything about someone who self-selects out of your life because they don't want to have conversations, if you will, about differences. So it's a very straightforward equation. Our oversoul expands. We don't have less people, the healthy others. Okay, so a divine feminine will not find herself saying, I lost people while I got my spirituality awakening, because my twin flame and I have tragedy. Okay, and I'm afraid. I was afraid of losing them. I went through all the stages and so on and so forth. So long story short, Pat Ogden. Whenever we're working with trauma, we have to remember that we're never working with the actual event, we're working with patterns of response, and that's something that is very fascinating, to say the least. When somebody is doing it, it's nice. When somebody's not working on their responses and they think that all the stages, so there's a lot of different ways people who are uninformed on all of sensory motor somatics trauma, EMDR, child parts work. So there's a group of mystics have no idea about any of it. They think that with Reiki they can heal it away, which is very uneducated. No, Reiki I can definitely support, but those patterns of behavior are for you to notice, because you'll have emotional buttons and emotional triggers from your first 3 years of life to those first 8. Your subconscious, unconscious is something to take seriously with your own capacity to understand you are a mental and physical and embodied brain person, and yoga benefits you. Yes, mindfulness, yes, they all benefit you, but your child parts, if they need reparenting, that's because you need to learn to become the owner of your sense of self, which is very important, because your core self will have shame and or childhood wounding somewhere, which will be clear if you are not able to stand your ground and say, I love, and to be able and accept if somebody says, I reject you. I don't love you. I actually completely reject every single thing that you are and in your face. Okay, so when this has happened, believe me, it was, oh my gosh, okay, well, I'm gonna cry about it, but I'm gonna get over it. Why? Because Maria owns her own destiny. Why? Because I'm a whole 3-year-old heart. I have a whole 1-year-old heart. I have healthy self-worth. So Maria doesn't change because somebody says I don't like you. Doesn't matter if you're a lover or friend, whoever you are, I own this. It's called observe, witness, narrate, but really it's also I own the capacity to enlighten and to also, you know what, truly love, which is, if your amygdala says I'm not of your interest, me trying to have you be interested in you is a selfish act, which is why if you watch late HP show from last night, I laugh because I'm thinking about all these people and their twin flame stages, and the fact that they not only are inconsistent in realizing consistently what their twin flame or flames are, and so that is complete lack of self-awareness as well as accountability and regulation. Let me use Sadhguru for a minute. Only when the masculine and the feminine play an equal role in our lives will there be beauty and purpose to our existence. You all have both feminine and masculine. So when I learned about somatics from my somatic therapists, I learned that they call the body the feminine, and I don't know if they call the masculine the mind, but you don't have to use any of what is in our spirituality lingo in a way that is fixed. The only people who don't like to do this are the ones who only use the left, so they're only using ego. When you're using your right, you are okay with having A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all of it in here, because you're a flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, and stable brain, which is what a person is going to be if they are wanting to do more of the depths of them. If you don't, it means you don't know how to have fun with emotions yet and self-regulate. So that's where instead, for those who do use their mind wisely and playfully, rejection is not going to be an opportunity to be protected. It's going to be an opportunity simply to, I own my destiny. Of course I'm going to be sad because it means that somebody that I love and really, really want in my life doesn't want me the same. But it's okay because I'm enlightening, and that's why secure attachment person won't be fearing the loss of a twin flame or twin flames. So you don't even have to use the divine feminine or not, because the reality is there's divine masculines. Okay, so this is why, let me just organize. You will know if you have a twin flame. You will know which one of the energetic imprints you are of your oversoul. And if you're empowered, you will be enjoying all of that which we're talking about, because you also understand that we all have the balance of masculine and feminine, because the power of you is the power of the community of us. And because all of sciences and spirituality share that our body keeps that score and has feelings and it speaks to us, and the brain has the two sides. So the right mode, all that comes up from here. And when you look at neuroscientists like Patrick McNamara, he shares that the self is in the right mode somewhere. So I mean, I connect the dots in ways to explain it to you humanly. It's not a set in stone deal. It's not something with a bunch of quantitative data. No, there's different scientists, different groups, different theories, hypotheses. Okay, so food for thought. But our community is our soul contract, and that is to be our authentic self. And that's why Divine Feminine doesn't lose herself, because we don't disown. Divine Feminine, who has secure attachment, is a person who says, this is who I am. And so even if you reject me, I won't be afraid of losing you. I'll be sad, but I'll be able to be happy for you, and I'll be able to be happy for me, and I'll be able to recalibrate our relationship, because we're not done just because we have decided, or you have decided, that you want something different from the relationship That's why it's not rejection, protection, and that's why it doesn't have stages. It is a connection that is very deep, but it is one that a divine feminine will know how helps and has her, like in my case, every step of the way, it was consistently expanding me to become more of Maria. I had no question about that at all. And everything that was about interactions, that was our free will choice. So I could accept my accountability, regulation, and what I brought to the table. And I don't do the characterological distinctions or judgments on what they brought to the table. And when you share the story with people who are empowered, they also understand. When you share people with people who are not empowered, they have tragedy all over the place. In fact, it's very funny because they think sadness means tragedy, like that Zen master, and it doesn't. Again, a divine feminine from the 5D mystic plane here shares with you, there's no fear of losing my twin flame. Never once, not any person can I lose. I live like anybody else who's a healthy other. You live life fully with the people who want to share intimacy with you. They will consistently communicate and build moments with you. That's a person who wants to spend the life of theirs with you, and they cherish you, and their amygdala is doing that. Okay, so if someone doesn't cherish their relationship that way, it's not, you don't need to be holding it like you don't like it. That's your own self saying what you want from someone else, you see? So when you hear about the twin flame thing again, there's a lot of trending topics at this point. It is a real connection. The divine feminine that is empowered, like a divine masculine that's empowered, won't fear losing anyone. Divine masculines don't know, again, for my oversoul group. But what I'm going to say is the ones who are not in the mystic plane, okay, so I'll use that. The ones who don't have clairs, they won't know about their twin flame. And that's what is going to be clear. The ones who do know about the connection, I'm going to say a group of them are just doing trending topics. A group of them, instead, they have a twin flame. And the one lady who created 4 waves, I mean, that just makes me laugh. But again, everyone out there that is not healthy other, so they don't have a whole 1-year-old, they want to be a part of a group. It's like the flat earthers. So it's there's a voice for everyone. I'm here for those of you who are empowered. You love, and we're going to talk about that. So how we get to be the wind beneath each other's wings. Why? Because 5D mindful relationships are in life. This is where twin flame or not, we don't skip out on town. And we address the depth of emotional experiences together. So I don't cut cords. I didn't cut any cords of anyone in my entire 44 years of life and since I've been a mystic. If relationships move farther away, it's because we don't have things to share. But we have between platonic, virtual, and in person. So the poly secure person is what I'm talking about. But also a person who loves to love. You might not identify as polyamorous, but you will identify as a human who loves to love people, and you're building more relationships, because just because we don't see or talk all the time doesn't mean that we don't have a secure connection. That's the beauty of when you build from the heart. I'm always building intimacy for real. I'm not building it with my eyes. I don't say goodbye when you have left. My amygdala and my heart stay as, well, I am a divine feminine again, so I'm a nurturer, but I'm just a person who loves to be able to cherish life with anyone that wants to share a moment. It's always a gift. And even the ones who are unhealthy, they still give us a gift, because they give me the gift to be able to enlighten, to be playful, to share with you all how easy it is to use your mind with integration and to be a restorative embodiment self. That's exactly why I'm here. It's because of them being able to all give me the opportunity to say life is beautiful. So again, you won't be afraid of losing anyone, because every day I could die. And the saddest part is that those who are unaware of the connection, that's the only part that I can tell you. It's not about rejection, because that's a bullshit word. They will not have any care of any emotionally about what is going on, but that's not your fault. And a securely attached person knows that. That's why my 1-year-old, she says, no, they don't care about me. Something must be defective. No, that never crosses the mind of a secure attachment person. Never. I say never for me and for what I know of secure attachment. But for me, from Maria's perspective to you, I say no. Did I feel, and can I feel like I failed? Yes, but that's because I fail as a divine feminine to nurture you into your higher potential, because I fail at having you see how love is here and that you're beautiful just the way you are. And that's a defeat, though I accepted a long time ago, because people will not love their self if they have shame, and they will skip out on town. And I got the first two of most important lessons. That's why my twin flames, they came later. They didn't teach me anything new. I already knew the very basics. And the second one, I remember when I said, this is going to be one of the most important lessons of my life, and it turned out to be so. And it was very applicable to what the therapist informed me of when people don't want to be loved. So they choose their unfaced fear. Unhealthy other chooses to continue dating and being with people in that unawareness of their own self. They could get it cleared up. Patrick Tiahan, Terry Real. So any good therapist can help a person learn to love themselves first, which is where, if you love yourself first, great, come on over. If you don't understand how to be yourself yet, come on over still. But therapists are the great people for you, because you want to reparent your inner child so that you can handle rejection with a grown-up attitude, and that involves the compassion, forgiveness, love, and also compersion. I want you to be happy. So just because your amygdala is uninterested in me doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean that you're an asshole. I will process it. I will say things. I will get into my depth of emotion, because I will, but I'm going to be on the other side at a certain point and say, this has been fabulous. I get to have all of these relationships, and you don't weigh it down. So people who still weigh down sadness, like the Zen master, it's why they look to the past, they judge positive and negative. The reason I don't use negative as much is because people already think of it as negative, and I'm trying to share with you all the impartiality, and the equanimity plane is where you're going to be mindfully living. So you choose neutral, impartial words in an effort to try and help people to gauge, because it's when your nervous system is in the space of fear and sad and anger, in the I'm going to be with my emotional struggle, that you can create resiliency. So you using the word laundry, you're not creating resiliency. That's called, you're going to ruminate, because you're using the temporal junction. You're not using the prefrontal, saying it's a new moment, it's a different moment. I still have the same equation I had yesterday, which is that the unknown, unexpected, and unwanteds are there. And here's my acceptance of that, which is consistently the darkness of the unknown into the unknown, in the absence of the fear that Elsa has. So teenagers, what they do is a repeat of the karma push-pull dynamic, because even in her song, I don't want to go, but I want to go, and that is all a biochemistry that is a low frequency, and that's something called the limbic system, because they're not learning how to use the prefrontal cortex and be in a physiological state of compassion, which instead is when you're equanimous, restorative embodiment. Again, this prefrontal cortex, so you're flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable, integrated brain. Welcome aboard. So when you meet a divine feminine who's empowered, or a divine masculine, we won't be afraid of losing anyone, and we won't have tragedy with any, again, twin flames. We will know that they live a life that they're happy about, we're happy for them, and our relationships continue to consolidate with them. They don't skip out in the way of cutting cords. So again, the ones who do choose to cut themselves out, well, that's a different story. Some people don't agree to disagree, and that's okay. I have some of those people. They're not my twin flames or my soulmates. Nope, but they are people who I've had lives with. No, I'm thinking, well, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say that the 3 that are coming to my mind, it's either their first rodeo on earth as souls, so it's normal, or whatever. But there's 3 people that come to mind that decided that I am not a good friend, and that they don't appreciate having me in their life, and I respect that, and I know what they think, and I can take responsibility and accountability. I'm not ashamed of Maria, though, because I know also why I made those choices, and I believe in you be you and I be me, and we can talk about it. And these 3 people didn't talk. They simply did, I'm the judger and I'm condemning, and there's your unhealthy, insecure human being. I have no reason to want an unhealthy, insecure human being in my life. They don't know how to be a pacha. They know how to be a Cusco, a squirrel, and to be a hypocrite. And yeah, we already have facades in our lives, and they are hypocrites too, but at least, we build those consistent, contingent communication. So to be continued, because we are always going to be that wind beneath each other's wings, even with facades. So 4D3D are friends. We're not going to exclude anyone. And again, welcome aboard. Anybody who's new, we'll be back with more. Have a good one.